things, but way better.
Is that
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Our winner of round one in Atlanta, Cory Talaska.
what's up, brother?
What's up? We are live again. This is episode 45 of all of our fun little endeavors that we've been recording. Man, I'm exhausted still. I don't know if you guys have caught up at any of your sleep yet, but
let's hear it, Brandon. You want to say anything to Nate now? You want to tell
What?
him that he's like wake up or?
He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
Oh, so it's okay for him to be exhausted, but not me.
I think that's what I just said. Yeah,
Bro,
I think that's.
what killed me. So here's the thing that killed me at Formula Drift Atlanta, and great to see everyone here. We'll get into Cory and everyone else for a second, but I just want to say my piece for a second, dude. I should have never said yes to doing work at Grid Life or doing any coverage of Grid Life because running, like I even got there a little bit after Grid Life started, but still it was running gun from like 9 in the morning till midnight 1 every day. And I'm like supposed to be getting stuff out to people during the events too, and it's just, oh man. And like obviously the distance that everyone has to travel to get to all of these places, because it's not like it's all in one location, right? Obviously you have the pits, the regular pits for FD. You have the Grid Life pits, which are not close to anything, and then you have the actual track.
There was a bridge, right? You could walk.
Yeah, there's a bridge, but it's not close to anything else. Like, let's say you want to go to the track from the Grid Life pit.
Shit, Brandon. You walk across that bridge 10 times a day. 5 times there, 5 times back.
Then,
that's
so then you have the track that's a half a mile up and down a mountain. And then you got Hot Pit, which is another 2 miles away. So
you didn't invest in a golf cart?
That's what I was going to... You weren't golf carted up?
No, we had golf carts. They were just usually occupied with other things. And like the first couple days I tried to use the car, but you can't use a car to go anywhere on Saturday.
Event. Yeah, because then you're just locked in. Well, and it's on Saturday, shit, if you park there,
you
wouldn't want to move anyway, because then you'd be stuck in a mudslide. So
yeah, true.
Well, they don't let you park unless you have the right parking pass. They're either like, I had a paddock one, and it was like, I don't think they would even let me in. But yeah, so I'm happy to be back home, although I still have not slept much, in the case of still doing editing and stuff along with the little one at home. So I'm running on fumes, but hopefully you guys are doing better. Herbie, how was your weekend, sir?
There was an experience. Congratulations to our guest here, Cory Talaska, dude. You ripped out there from pretty much the get-go, honestly, dude. So that, seeing stuff like that puts all the like pain and suffering to the side, and it's like you keep doing like cool run after cool run. I'm like, let's go, brother. I'm like, hell yeah. And then like, when it's not like your turn, some other silly antics go on the track, then I like start kicking the sand around and contemplating life and things. but then it's like, oh, Cory Talaska's back up at the line here. Let's see what he puts together. And it's another heater. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Right.
But
again, it's like it sounds like how Brandon was feeling all weekend. Is that the case?
It was a fun weekend. I enjoyed it. The vibes were good. I had a great time. Me spotting for 2 drivers. They didn't do how I wanted them to do, but I mean,
dude, Dusky floated right into the top 16, dude.
Perseverance. Dusky never told me that he's got an electric power steering pump on that Mustang. And if he would have told me that like a month ago, I would have yelled at him more. to not have that in his car. But he told me Saturday, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get a kit for the steering. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's still electric. I'm like, that's like the first thing you change on those cars when you make them pro cars, because they
Well,
suck with
don't
electric
forget
power steering pumps.
JTP never did, and he wants to be like JTP and do those kind of crazy
Yeah,
things.
but JTP drove like Mustangs when they were like solid axles and like cut knuckles and all that. So it was like it's literally like driving a hot dog through a bale of hay. It's like that. Those cars sucked, but like now we have the tech and the innovation to make it better to drive.
Jarvis, can we get a hot dog going through hay?
That's amazing. And then, of course, we have our wonderful guest who probably had the best weekend out of all of us. I'm not gonna lie. Although he probably spent more. You probably spent more money than all of us, though.
That's possible. Might have spent more money. The big checks are nice, but it covered some stuff. I can't complain.
Right. It's like it's cute that they give you the check and then they're like, hey, here, this will pay for gas, right?
Maybe to get back
Some
home.
Of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I mean, at least they're doing something. At least it's better than nothing.
If we did it for the money, then none of us would be here, or at least I wouldn't be driving if it was for the money. Maybe in the long term, but yeah, it's nice that there's something.
Yeah, dude. It was it was a weekend where I figured I was wondering if it would ever happen, because like you always, like we saw it the last year, for example, you had the skill and the consistency to do it. It was always, it seemed like a mental thing. And when it came to the competitions, similar to Brandon's friends over there, that's the biggest challenge of a lot of these guys. Because most of these guys in Prospec even can drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just
everyone's there.
Line. It's just a mental like oh shit, here we go. And the walls come down. The panic happens. Yeah, I mean, you gotta give a shout out to Andy Luck, dude. His kind words of hyping you up during the 16 ceremonies.
This is really fun. I'm actually using that in a video I'm posting tomorrow. So
that's funny. Andy did give, when we first got there on Wednesday, we had like a check because we got there. I'm always the first one usually in line for staging, so we're usually the first people to park, and it's mainly because I hate whipping the toter and stacker around when other people are in the pits. It's just so much easier just to drive in the parking spot. But we had like a casual talk with Andy where he just he asks the same questions he does every year. He's like, did you drive the car? Did you test? Is everything gonna break? Are you gonna suck? What's going on? But it truly is like from a side of Andy that cares, that I'm blessed to be able to see, because he's given me a lot of advice, things to like think about and stuff. And he kind of said, he's like, you guys have all the tools, you have everything that you need to put an event or a season together. It's just stop taking yourself out. And the top 16 words were just that reinforced. There was just like it was the diss, but it was I think Andy's always been silently, stoked to see that we've made progression, because it's taken a while. It's not a quick progression at all. But it was cool it felt like doing as well as we did. I felt like I was making multiple people proud that had believed in me. So that's what it was. It was definitely like a huge weight off my shoulders to get so much to like give back, of like, all right, yeah, you had a bunch of faith in me, thanks a ton, Kevin, thanks. It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're getting dissed by him, that's out of pure love. Then like if it's coming straight from the man's mouth, like that's like ultimately it's not any harm or foul. It is just tough love and just being fun.
Yeah. No, 100%. No, Andy won't even give you the time of day if he doesn't think that, you're going to stick around for a bit. I mean, I think everyone, even new people, are semi-aware of that. I've only gotten properly yelled at by Andy one time, and that was that was back when Corey Misko rode like he sat on like the window of the car back because he was my umbrella girl in a top 16 at Jersey one time.
Yeah.
And instead of like fully getting into the car to ride back, he sat in the window. That was the only time I got properly yelled at. And I was like, it's over. As soon as that happened, I was like, damn, I'm done. My career's over. I got yelled at by Andy. I can never show my face again.
Pack it up, boys.
Yeah, we're done.
Going home.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the event, let's actually get into it. So I'm gonna quick do the old share the screen, which is always a pain in the butt with StreamYard. What am I using? Streamlabs? Whatever this is called.
Streamlabs.
Streamlabs. I gotta like.
StreamYards. We're at the StreamYards here, fellas.
They all sound the same.
I know.
All right. So you guys can see that, right? The very small wording of bracket that you can't read.
Mhm.
But yes.
Yeah, I'll wait to see it when I see it on the YouTube.
And I'm looking at the stream.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I can see on screen.
There we go. There she is. Nice
yeah. So let's start with seating bracket. It obviously gave us a chance to look at a lot of the new guys and girls that came into the sport this year, or at least in the series this year. But before we actually get into the actual competition, there were a lot of crashes at that final corner this year. And
yeah,
most of them seem to be pretty explainable in terms of either a freak accident or just late transition. But I just want to pose this question. Do you think them changing that inner clip at the end had a lot to do with any of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say. I mean, I would say yes. I think there's like the word like commitment happens in the same breath of like that inner clip is up like an initiation. It felt smooth. Like you obviously had to be very conscious of like not focusing on like hitting the rumble strips, but on the way back down the hill, it felt like a little bit unnatural unless you took like this magical perfect line that just like made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then even at that, when you took that line that felt really good, you know, you had to pour all the angle and like be full throttle to get the car to hold, even in like the lead position.
Yeah.
I mean, there was multiple times when I came through that, hit the inner clip, like how the judges wanted us to hit it, and I still almost like my left rear ran into mid rumble strips, like danger territory, especially with those rumble strips are sawtooth the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't. My car was pretty gripped up, and I still could only hold the car down so much. So, there's like if there's any, it almost felt like a Long Beach scenario, even though I've never driven there, where like there can be no hesitation. If there's any hesitation or like you try to do some funky stuff to like hit the inner clip, but you're off a little bit, you're in a spotty zone, you know, and all the wrecks there, aside from Habich and Rowlings was kind of just like one of those scenarios where they probably felt really, really good up until they realized that the arc of the car was just not going to stay on the track.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, shit, when Ferris went into the wall, the opening act of the weekend, I'd say, I think everybody was in unanimous decision saying that was probably one of the worst wrecks at FD Atlanta ever. And then we just proceeded to then triple down
we just
afterwards.
We upped the ante afterwards, you know.
Casey Cole going and just, you know, head
that was
first
a painful one to watch.
That one definitely, like when I watched it back, like on like the footage that we got, you know, it being in 120, it makes it look a lot less brutal. But what I saw out of my peripherals, when I saw out of my peripherals, I was like, holy shit! And just like the quick poof of the fire, it's like, oh man, you know, Kelsey's and Habich, like that. It definitely after seeing like, you know, the first one. The next, like every run would make me kind of almost like pucker up just from a video guy's standpoint, watching everybody go into that turn. And then more crashes began to happen, and it was without a doubt, I was puckering watching everyone throw the car towards the wall, at least in Prospec too, because like, you know, like mental games, everybody could drive, but mental games, especially now knowing that all your other co-competitors have just ran into the wall there. It's like, oh shit. In your conscious mind, you're going to just keep staring at the danger zone.
Yeah, don't stare at the places you don't want to go. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
But it's like, it's hard. I mean, like, and it also depends on levels of experience and where your head's at, because my second round ever in FD was at Jersey. And this is me coming off of a top 8 in Orlando, my first event. So I was feeling way more comfortable than I probably should have been. And we were chilling, making good laps, really kind of threading the needle a little bit. This is when, and I don't know if it's hard to see, a lot of spectators probably don't know, but Jersey now they set all the barriers back a little bit. Yeah. Like it's like 2 feet.
I think they even moved it back even further, honestly. Compared to, I guess, because what I know from the Gambler course, like they moved it significantly further back.
Yeah, the Gamblers set, I think, even further back. FD last year, I noticed a huge gap. There was like 2 to 3 feet in between the pavement and the wall. But when I first started, the pavement met the wall. The zone met the wall. So it was the classic Jersey barrier, where it's like your car wants to climb it. And I never even factored in hitting the wall until I was just a little bit too deep. Left rear climbed, front slapped the wall. And then, because I had never hit a wall like that before, it's all I could focus on the rest of the event. So even if I didn't hit it, it was like one of those things. So like here, I kept hearing like, oh, another person smacked into the wall. Another person smacked into the wall. I don't know. One thing that I do is like, until after the event, I pretty much didn't watch a single run. I watched runs of like competitors that I was going up against, but whatever you can do to protect your own sanity. But some people aren't built like that, like in a sense where they get better by watching other drivers or something like that. Like, but watching Ferris smoke the wall the way that he did, because it was, I agree with you, Herbie, like, out of all the people who have smoked it, like Forrest Wang and stuff and Chase, like that was probably one of the gnarliest smacks.
Yeah, it definitely killed me to see that firsthand, especially too because I was really like looking forward to having him in FD, honestly, and then for him to unfortunately like have a very short weekend on his debut weekend, it killed me. And
he still broke the record in his other vet at the
he did.
with a kinked neck and a banged up body, it's like, what, fuck it, we're still gonna set it.
He's like, I can still drive anything.
But it's actually it was sad, like especially the Kelsey one. That one hurt the soul, because she was just kind of helpless at that point. Like there's nothing she could do. She tried to transition, but
I'm in full support of small bash bars. I mean, that's what I have in my car. My front is just enough to hold my bumper, and within the rules, and my rear is the same, because you got to have that crumple zone. Like, I'm sure it's still possible for my bash bar to hook someone, maybe, but I don't know what like Kelsey's bash bar actually looks like, but mine is literally a 1-inch, like 060 wall tubing. Pinned hoop. That's it. I could smoke the back like 2 feet of my car and it wouldn't touch a single mechanical thing. So bash bars can hurt just as much as they can help.
There's definitely been quite a bit of talk about updating the rules on bash bars after that incident happened. I mean, when that happened, like, it happened so quick. Honestly, I didn't even like truly understand what happened. I knew that they locked and that nothing could happen, like there was no transition going on, but honestly, it almost to me seemed like a Forza scenario where the chase driver was just like got in it and then realized that didn't let her transition. It was like, oh, let me try to boop you a little bit, but then quickly realized on replay that they were just holding hands.
Too close and held hands
all the way into the danger zone.
It's such a tricky part of the track, and because the judges are so strict, and they talk about it very well, but in the drivers meeting they're very apparent of like, these are the momentum zones, these are the decel zones of the track that you can slow down. And I know obviously not everyone was driving the track the same way, but as soon as as soon as I like basically came past the inner clip, it was full throttle to all the way up the hill, and same thing down the hill. It was full throttle all the way down, unless I need to adjust my line, which I adjusted it without necessarily a quote unquote decel. But I chased many people in practice and stuff where we were almost full like decelling at that bottom clip, which in a comp setting, like it's tough where you find the balance, because as a chase driver, I mean, I'm going to transition through the smoke with full intent that you should be on the gas.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks to
who was your
sometimes see the
battle
outcome.
with? I can't remember now that you almost threw it away because it was
with Adam Heischman.
That's right, but they caught the and then we just kick them all out. That's great. But yeah, so it was his battle against Adam Heischman, and let's get you guys back on stream, maybe. Show on stream.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we get?
Are any of you
Mr.
guys
Nate?
there? Hello?
Damn, he was ripping on
There
me
he
for
is.
my
There he is.
internet falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what to say.
No, the thing is though,
Stream's
this is
still
the thing,
rolling.
Corey. He'll still blame all of us because he still sees himself, but then we disappear. So he blames us for getting kicked out.
I'm DDoSing him right now.
Yeah.
Hacker mode. No, Nate, the battle against Heischman in the one more time, I like basically pretty much spun / stalled across the finish line, and I was like, I can't believe I just threw that away. But it was one of those scenarios. We came out of he already zeroed, right? So he pretty much told me he was in fun mode. Like, let's make a show of this. Let's have a blast. Yeah. So when I transitioned, and one thing that my spotter told me after the first run, which is the reason why I was one more time, is one, I hit basically both inner clips, or like 1 and 3, way too low. I hit the rumble strips basically on entry and out, got heavily penalized by that. And then I lost proximity out of the keyhole because I transitioned like a touch too late. So Jelani was like, look, these are the 3 things you need to clean up, and we'll win, move on. So I was able to clean up those things, but in the chase, he's like, I need you to transition heavy coming out of the touch and go. So that's what I did. Was in a really good spot in the pocket behind him. He's smacking his driver's door. He's stoked, like, get close. And he basically went and transitioned for the last inner clip and threw like 90 degrees of angle and stalled there. And like, by the time we came past the inner clip, he hadn't fired off till he got after. Because if he fired off, he would have drove off track. So that's, in a sense, like the same but different scenario of like, where if I was transition timed any different, I could have hit him in transition or done something weird, or just like straight up T-boned him in the side if like acceleration was different. But in a sense, that clip should be full on power. So like the reason why the judges sided with me and didn't fault me for me basically making a mistake was simply because we were past the inner clip and the lead driver still hadn't fired off. So, and that's, I mean, I see all the stuff. I saw the stuff on Maximum Driftcast. Everyone's bringing up, like, because there was a lot of confusion, like, out of Atlanta in general with a lot of the pro battles and all kinds of stuff. And I know the people, the judges and Ryan Sage, they try to explain it the best they can. But in FD's current state, there's so much weighted on the lead driver. And I know it can seem like it's a little skewed. Why, like, you can have a really good chase, but if your lead wasn't perfect, you still might lose the battle or something. Oh, we lost another one. But it really is like, and I'm sure like we'll cover it more and more about Atlanta, but the track in my opinion, got so much better by the changes because it gave the place for a chase driver to go everywhere on the track. And I told many people that, and I told in Gettin's podcast afterwards, Dimitri didn't like the changes, but I liked it simply for the fact, like, I know it made the lead runs a little bit weirder. It felt maybe a little bit unnatural, but it made the chase so much better and that's what they were holding it to, is like, because of the changes they made on the track, maybe it didn't make everything better, but it made the potential for really good chases exponentially better. So that's why I think the judges held so much weight to like the leads and the chases because of the leads being adjusted and expected to be the line that they were. That basically also increases the expectation for the chase. Is like, look, now you have, in years past, Atlanta was hard to chase on, extremely hard, because up the hill people are apexing everything, down the hill people are apexing everything. It forces the chase car to be nose to tail, which is completely in the smoke. I mean, on the sim it was even hard if you have smoke on, because it's like, it's just crazy. So now there's like, they basically like, all right, you better chase your guys' ass off, because there's no excuse. That lead driver's leaving you a pocket all the way around the track. It's literally giving you a bro line everywhere, which again still runs into the same thing at like the bottom of the hill, which is they've never quite requested the chase driver to ever be door to door in that inner clip until this year, because it was impossible in years past.
It's very true.
I'm just trying to pull up your battle right now with Adam, just so you can kind of explain what you're saying, because like obviously the judges did see that there was a slowdown there. I think, is this the one? Just trying to make sure.
Proper looking unit out there this year, sir. Every year.
Yes, this year especially.
But yeah, so this is the one. This is the run you were talking about, where he goes off throttle, then gets back on throttle, but because of that kind of checkup slows the car down, and then you have to try to avoid to stop hitting him.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here. He's reaching his hand out, beating his door on the hand. And then so we were 20 feet past the inner clip and still not on power. If I could have got on power right away, we would have drove out fine.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's just like a quick little surprise.
Because at this point he had zeroed his chase or whatever, so you just had to put a rundown basically for the battle.
Yeah, and truthfully, there was still fault on my side of that. Like, I didn't need to be pushing that hard. First of all, I didn't need to transition on his bumper when I already had the battle locked up. So this isn't like Adam Heichman. Like, honestly, this was a crazy smart play from him. Him throwing big angle there, that was the best thing he could have ever done, because if the judges would have went one more time again, now he gets a reset. Like, I told him straight up after the battle, I was like, dude, that was like, whether it was on purpose or on accident, that was smart, because that could have went either way. I felt like I made a huge mistake. I was like, and it was only going to go my way if the judges saw it in that same light.
Yeah. He was ripping too. I mean, damn, that thing was doing almost wheelies around the keyhole.
Literally, the battle that I had with him was no different in difficulty than Buchanan and Dimitri. Truthfully, like, he was. I mean, and huge props to him, because this was his first top 32 run. You know, last year he had his rookie year and he had to really push through seating, but he was ripping.
Yeah. I mean, even during practice, it was like a whole new man out there. So yeah, Mr. Heichman, there's no bash on you, sir. You were certainly doing.
He was ripping for sure.
Well, it's just a drastic change from his rookie season to now. You know, like the car is working. Like, obviously he messed up on this run, but like he was super competitive, in terms of overall. Yeah, it just catches him right there, and then he loses all the grip.
Just had to go up against old Mr. Talaska, who was really on a heater this weekend. Sorry, buddy.
He was until he wasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so let's go ahead and pop up the bracket. And just quick hit prospect seating bracket. Oh, and I'm gonna quick end the poll here as well. Whoops. Had Safari crash on me not too long ago. That was fun.
Well, Mac problems.
What in the hell?
Bro, I don't have problems.
Thank you, Blake.
I'll be honest,
by the way.
I've tried to kill this thing so much. All right, so really interesting. So I did a poll. Do you like the new line adjustments in Atlanta? And we had 72% said yes, 0% said no, and then 27% said some of the changes. I was kind of referencing that final inner clip. That it may be the one tricky spot that maybe you do push that final inner clip back onto the rumble strips when you come back down the hill. That was one of, I know, talking to Casey Cole, he said that was kind of one of the issues that caused him to hit Luis, is because Luis thought he was going to go off, so he got off throttle there, which you're not supposed to do, and that's why he hit him. So That is the one possible critique. But I loved the keyhole. The keyhole was awesome.
Yeah,
The changes they made there. And like you said,
some people were doing
Cory,
it
you
kind of
already went into
funky, but
the why it was so good, but I'm just reiterating. But yeah, so we got seating bracket. Cameron Sorensen wins. Shout out to also Shelly and it was Colette. Yeah, Shelly and Colette getting podiums there. Really cool to see. Shelly was putting down pretty good this weekend.
yeah.
I thought I was. I was really impressed because I hadn't seen her drive in person yet, and so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, Rudy wasn't lying when he said that she was gonna be better than him. She's really coming to show him how it's done.
She looked super comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep. And then honestly, like Colette too, like, you know, she battled a lot of what seemed like gremlins or, you know, just, you know, shaking off the mental cobwebs of,
dust.
you know, here we are here at FD, like, you know, people in the chat were saying that she was having hydro problems, this, that, the other thing, like during practice time, and like, yeah, that definitely sucks, you know, if that, you know, if it was actually true, but you know, ended up
There we go. The truth comes out.
dialing it in. What do you mean? If what truth comes?
If it was true or not?
Yeah.
Hydro problem. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know.
Yes.
But is
I made that controversial. You're welcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
My question is, were there any rookies that kind of stood out to you though? Obviously, Cameron won.
I mean, truthfully, I think that wasn't even a surprise though. Even more props to him. I think Cameron performing well is something that, I mean, I expected him to do well.
Yeah.
I mean, even the same goes for Colette. I mean, she has a ton of seat time. We know that car is good and proven. I mean, I know Freddie's put his own touch on it. They've done their own things, but we know the car is good. And honestly, and after seeing how a couple of Shelly's runs and then seeing like just how like calm she was on hot pit, I was like, oh, she came in the right mindset. I mean, and think about it, because she's probably coached Rudy through the same thought process, you know, like, I mean, Rudy always says that she's, you know, kind of like she's the backbone of everything. And her attitude definitely carried that same weight. Every time I talked to her, she had a smile on her face, super calm. And my first year of FDI was not calm. So mad props to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a couple guys that got knocked out early that I'm curious to see more of are guys like Ruth, Brian Hopp, you know, obviously two guys that got
he'll be good for
that
sure.
I thought looked decent in practice. When I saw them, it's just, you know, someone's got to lose, right?
Which one is Justin Ruth again? Why am I pulling a blank?
Yellow
350Z.
Oh yeah, that yeah. He had some pretty good practice runs.
Yeah,
dude, Colin Zielinski.
Yeah. I knew he was also gonna be good, because that's a guy.
10 lad.
That's a guy that took his car that he had in Pro-Am and changed only his tires and said, all right, let's do Prospec now.
Well, he did light it on fire 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
all right,
maybe he did some of that.
But
that's fair. Ago. But I mean, overall, like, I don't know what his program looks like or what they did in the off season, to be honest. But like from an outside like perspective, he looks like a dude that was like, all right, guys, like, let's just drive the car that we have. Like, let's, you know, make sure that we have all the FD legal things. Let's have, like, you know, I don't know. I'm assuming, I think he did have a GSR beforehand and a quick change. But like ultimately, like, he didn't throw any more grip at the car. He just drove it the way how he knew it. And I knew that's what he was going to do. And I knew he was going to be fluid and consistent. And he did all of that. So.
Yeah. And one thing that I think, and my dad and I talked about, because obviously I had to battle him in top 8, and I was like, I gave him the respect that he deserved, and like I was like, this is going to be a tough battle. Is he has a lot of experience on tracks like this, not necessarily like someplace like Atlanta, but you know, where there is a lot of people throughout the field, you know, partially myself included, that did a lot of Pro-Am in parking lots, skid pads, stuff like that. You know, he's been running grid life for like 2-3 years. he's been driving around the country drifting big tracks with big entries. So if anything, this felt more at home to him than a lot of people that were nervous about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely showed, and he's is he the highest ranked rookie? I would assume.
I think so. Yeah.
He's the only guy that I see in top 8 that's a rookie. So, yeah, and I think he had a mechanical against you, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he blew a blower belt right at the top of the keyhole because it was kind of a weird battle. We came up the hill, I downshifted, and then we didn't go anywhere. I basically downshifted, and usually where I get right back on throttle, and we stalled. So we both kind of straightened out at the same time,
right?
And it was super weird. And I was like, man, I wonder how that's gonna look. I wonder how it's gonna be viewed. But yeah, as soon as he lifted or something, it just threw the blower belt.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Colin. He was definitely looking solid this weekend as well. So he's probably going to be a problem.
He's gonna be good.
Yeah, moving forward. But
fighting for our taxpayer dollars over here, Zelensky.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't get that. It took me a second there. Wow, dude.
That's funny.
Jeez.
That's great.
Just kidding. He has no. They're not together. Anybody.
You're not affiliated.
Unless he is. I don't know.
Unless he is. Oh my gosh.
IRL, it's fourth and third gear, at least for me.
Yeah. Hayden Cash asked, "What gear is Road Atlanta IRL?"
Yeah, 4-3, 4-3-4. Back up.
4 coming out.
4 coming out of the keyhole. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. Well,
No.
just playing a little game in there.
Yeah. Just moving my knob back and forth, wishing that I had sequential.
Yeah. One of these days, dude, you keep driving like that, you're gonna be able to slap one of them babies in there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Just a quick shout out to the guys in the chat. We got Malik in here, Cody. Are we gonna get an FD tractor video? I don't know. Maybe Herbie's up to it. Maybe he'll do something. Check
We
out
don't
his
have
channel.
too many angles, so what I'm gonna say, I'll promise you one for we'll do Jersey, all right? Because that's it's smaller, it's not as terrible to get around. The tractor is really close. I have to do some walk around type stuff. The only angles that we got of tractor this round, I think I only recorded one clip. I don't know what Rob was into. I haven't really actually gone through it all, but I can't really do a cool edit to one clip, and it would only be trackside. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right,
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
We also got Phil. Good to see you, Blake. Good to see you as well. We got Craig out here. No, Greg, sorry, in the chat. Looks like he only does second gear, which is great. Good to see you there, Greg.
It's funny about that. I actually did. I came out. I had in a lap in practice. I was chasing Sam McMommy, and coming out of the keyhole, I misshifted into
second.
It was a weird scenario where I was in third, back shifted into second, and left it in second all the way down the hill, and just killed limiter. And it was crazy. I finished the lap. I couldn't believe it. I could have just shifted back up, but my brain just stopped working, and I just left it in second.
I'm sure the engine loved that.
Yeah, my dad was
Yogi in the chat. What's up, buddy?
My dad you're blowing up our ship.
What was the limiter count on that run?
Yeah. 10,000.
That's amazing. But yeah, so obviously the cool story was, and I got a video coming out about tomorrow, but you obviously had to beat some of your own demons, I guess you could say, or dragons is the way Jared put it.
Yeah.
Getting through
Dragon Quest.
Right?
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you ended up battling some guys you never beat before. One being Cody Buchanan and Dimitri Brutsky. And what was kind of going into those battles for you? Because obviously you told me before the event the one guy you want to beat is Cody.
Yep.
we already knew the stats. So like, what's it going into a battle like that? What is it like? You know, like, do you think about this stuff, or you just like, you know what? I know he's a good driver. We're gonna drive hard.
Well, truthfully, that point is kind of where my head was at now, because I was lucky enough to, by the time that I was battling him, we were already feeling good, you know.
Yeah.
Every other time that I've battled him, it's been in top 32 and top 16, and in previous events, you know, it kind of took me a little bit to get rolling, where I was like really confident in everything that I was doing, and usually that came too late. I had already lost the battle or something. So when I came up against Cody in the top 4, because it's one of those things, like, before you look at the bracket and you're like, oh, we would meet in top 4, and you're like, see you in top 4. It's always like something you say, but like, there's a lot of things that both people have to do to get there, to like get that battle to line up. So the fact that it did line up, it was pretty sweet. And because of where we were seated, we were already locked into the podium. I was able, by the time we got there, to kind of like take all of like the weight of everything and kind of just like throw it off and be like, all right, I'm going to this top 4 battle already with like my goals achieved for like the year, like, because my goals were not that high, to be honest. So I'm like, sweet, we're like on the box. I was like, this is huge. Like, okay, I definitely, like, there was like a moment where I was like, it's not like satisfying enough. Like, I get to battle like Cody. This is super good. I know the pace of his car is like good, so now I can just drive super hard and whatever happens kind of thing. And I know like how Cody enters and how he drives, because we've driven together a decent bit. So it was definitely a really cool, fun battle. That one was filled with like excitement and fun by like driving with like a homie. The Brewski battle was equally just as fun, but it was filled with like a different kind of fire. Not only because like it was for the win, but you know, Brewski's beaten me around. He's slapped me around for years. You know, just kind of like never been able to like get that leg up on him. So that one I really wanted. I think he even told like Lorette when she interviewed me, you know, I was like, I know the Dimitri battle is going to be the hardest one that I'm ever going to have if like that's the lineup that ends up happening. I'm like, but that's definitely the one that I want, because there's no better feeling than like being on the podium. And I mean, obviously you have to beat people to get there, but to like conquer like 2 people that have very stood out in like my entire FD career, that, you know, were always roadblocks that I had to push through. So
yeah,
it was huge.
I did have one question. Was he kind of playing a little game on the run up?
Run up was interesting.
So because the challenge is, so I watch, he doesn't have his lights working, right? His speed lights. So watch this. But I watch your lights, and you put on the brakes almost, or like you decel a little bit behind him, and I was like, I bet you he's doing something.
He looks slow.
That's what I'm saying. It did look slow, because watch, his lights don't do anything, but your lights you're like waiting for him to go. You let off, go. And then you guys enter, but his lights obviously aren't working. But
yeah,
I just thought it was interesting. He took a little while to get down that hill.
Yeah.
It like, does that actually, like, do you even notice it, or are you just kind of watching his taillights?
Oh well, no. When I pulled out, I almost entered in 3rd. We were going extremely slow, but speed's not judged. You know, that's one thing that they tell us in the drivers' meeting, that like, we are not judging you on speed. And so that's something like, yes, you can call it like a, you know, a game or whatever you want to say, but realistically it's just kind of like, it is a tool that people can use to try to throw people off. You know, I watched, and before I made my run, I watched his battle with Stewart, and what he did with him is the same thing he tried to do with me, is that he had a slow run up, and then Brewski's car has a lot of grip, a lot of pace, so he's able to just fire out of the hole when he wants to and gain a lot of speed really quick. So, and that's what he tried to pull with me, is, you know, he rolled down really, really slow, and then you see him basically like just gun it. But I've battled Brewski for like 8 years. I've had lots of battles with him in Pro-Am, in Prospec. So what my strategy is with him is to just, you know, like, I just mimic him, whatever he does. If he takes us all the way to the left side of the track, if we run through the grass, whatever's happening, I'm chasing him. I'm matching his pace, because if you try to do like just run a normal lap, or you try to take advantage of him going slower, it's going to catch you. It's just going to put you where he's trying to put you, and it's going to catch you off guard. As soon as you gain a bunch of proximity and have to check up really hard, he's gone. As soon as right when you're decelling, he's accelerating. That's why at a place like Atlanta, I think ultimately what continued to allow us to win battles is there's smart and there's risky places to gain proximity.
Yeah.
You know, one of the riskiest places to gain proximity is in the chase on initiation. That's you have to start close. If you're not starting close and you throw a bunch of angle, like, you know, trying to catch up to him on entry, the entry is so long that you're gonna create that gap's gonna close way too fast. You're gonna have to throw angle, decel, and again you're gonna fall back out of the pocket and lose proximity, or just run into the lead driver. And it's the same thing at the top of the hill. You have to be really, really careful about how much speed you can catch someone, or what your dive looks like at the top of the hill, because it's one of those spots of the track where you can, like, the car will dead slide to some degree. And if you like gain an unnatural amount of speed trying to dive in on someone, it's going to put you at risk. So when you're battling like anyone, but especially Dimitri, you just kind of got to be mindful. You know, you just got to, there's so much going on. There's so many tools that drivers can use. And Dimitri is one of the best drivers in the Prospec class. And one of the things that make him one of the best is where he can run a good lead run and still be conscious of where the person is in chase. And sometimes, like, there's things that you can do. You can throw big angle if someone's like gaining proximity on you, and that's going to put them in a really weird spot. You know, you can delay a transition, and that's going to put someone in a really weird spot. And this isn't just stuff. This isn't just him. This is like drivers everywhere do this. You see this heavily used in Drift Masters. You see this used all over the world of people driving with like strategic ways, or just hitting every single zone on the track, and still following all the rules that the judges like require. But there's just certain things that they do, certain places where they throw angle or speed of transition that can throw a chase driver off. There's and honestly, I don't even factor it as a negative or a positive. It's just part of drifting. It's part of racing.
Yeah,
I've raced
just racing. Yep.
I've raced multiple other forms before drifting. So when I got into drifting and people started doing stuff, I'm like, what do you mean? This is racing. I've dealt with people taking me out in the middle of corners. You know, we're circle track racing, especially in like go-karts, or like when I raced oval track and Legends. When you're behind someone and I want to pass them, I'm going to very gently if I can, put my front bumper to their rear bumper. And when they want to brake, they're not going to slow down because I'm pushing them deep into the corner. And like, you can look at that the same way as you look at like certain things in drifting. There's just, you know, I look at it all the same. It's something, it's not exclusive to this sport.
Right. Yep. No, it's just interesting to kind of see, you know, the different ways to go about it, because I still remember our conversation with Dylan Hughes, and the fact that he was the number one answer for anyone in pro that if they like chasing Dylan, because he was easy to chase, and you know, because
it's this perfect lead run every time. You know what you're gonna get, nothing crazy. It's just hitting all the boxes, just throttle when it's supposed to be, like good acceleration.
So this is the challenge that we talk about, you know, and it's very interesting to see. Obviously, you don't need to give away your secrets, but you were throwing a pretty nasty entry there when you were throwing it in.
Yeah, that's one thing Dimitri blamed me for on his mistake in the chase, was my entry. And truthfully, I just got a little bit more angle on that entry. It was unintentional. It's just the way that it played out. But at most tracks, I always throw a Manji entry. This one, it was just more like what's playing on the stream right now. It was just more calculated to be, I could get my speed and my entry the same every single time as if I like did it this way. And that's, I was running to the top of, like running through every single gear, letting it run out the whole way, top of fourth, throw handbrake and enter, because I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't have greatest vision at night. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but my headlights do nothing on my car. They are like, and I could not even see the first OZ cones when I entered. Wow. There was for some reason they had every part of the track super lit up. Right over OZ1, no lights, just literally this dark spot. So I couldn't see the entry, like the 3, 2, 1 cones or the lines on the track. I was literally going by when I hit limiter in fourth, enter. And that's kind of like all that was happening. And I actually wasn't like throwing a bunch of angle like super fast. It was kind of like just a slow rotation. I mean, if you watch my in-car, I literally was like turning the wheel like 1/8 of a turn and just pulling handbrake, letting the car go. And one thing that I do, I talked about it a bunch. There's a bunch of pro drivers that do it as well. Talked about it with Chelsea. Chelsea went back to it. I run an inline hydro. I've always ran an inline hydro, and I like to do that because I can like modulate the pitch of the car on these big entry tracks. So like if I throw angle, especially in chase where it comes handy to me. So if I start pouring angle with like the handbrake and I throw like, we've all had times even on the sim, everything like where the car just snaps to angle, and like that can put you in a really weird spot, especially in Atlanta. But because of the inline, I can literally just push on the foot brake, let the pressure pull the handbrake back a little bit, and it just brings the front back around. So like I can individually control the pitch of the car on entry on like basically places like Atlanta and Utah, specifically because of the inline. Now you could probably still do the same thing with a dual caliper, except I like the fact that when I push on the foot brake, it pulls back on the handbrake. When I pull on the handbrake, it pushes back on the foot brake. And I have my Chase Bays, all their kits. Everyone, unless they moved it, all of their brake bias is mounted to the master in the engine bay. I remounted my brake bias in the car. So it's right in front of my shifter. So at certain tracks, usually in beginning of practice, depending on like how much foot brakes used in chase and stuff like that, I'll adjust my brake bias, which adjusts basically front to rear to where I like it.
Super cool.
So on Atlanta, especially because I use most of the foot brake on entry in the chase, is I basically set foot brake to where I can push the foot brake really hard in chase and it not lock up and wash out the front.
That's awesome.
Because that's one thing that I did see happen to a bunch of people. Everyone who kind of went into the kitty litter because they kind of flopped an entry and I get it. I've done it at Atlanta and Utah before. Is you go to throw angle and something doesn't happen right. You weren't committed enough. Maybe the car was gripped up. Who knows? There's so many factors. And, so the first thing that some people do is instead of like throw angle and get on power is they lock up the brakes. But if you run dual caliper and you press on the foot brake, you're getting full brake in the front of the car. And that's just, I want to try to not minimize like how hard you lock up the front brakes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You make good points because we did see that a lot. People would lock up the front brakes and then they go straight.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same. That's why Jack Shanahan unfortunately went into the wall.
I was just going to bring that up. The patchy conditions, and then on top of that, then just literally what you just said, everything you described. It's just a mix of the worst things all at once.
Yeah. I assume that's why our boy Sully nearly did the same thing.
Yep.
But he saved it.
Yeah. So we'll get to pro here in a sec, but looking at Prospec standings, look at you on top there, bud.
Yogi had just mentioned in the chat the RTR boys they're in line as well. I know you just mentioned Chelsea, but yeah, I guess all the RTR guys are running an inline setup.
Interesting stuff.
It is interesting. But yeah, like as you can see, you got Colin, Zielinski, and Cameron up there for rookies of the year.
Look at that, dude! Top seat, man. That must feel crazy. I know you were holding back tears, dude. I know. I saw the wet eyes happening. You should have just let it happen, dude. I would have been crying like a little baby. That's awesome. That's like the coolest thing ever, man.
It was tough. Yeah, I was definitely emotional about it. It was surreal because we were, even Jaeger said it. Like I was getting told by top 16 that we were going to win the event, and I'm like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not? I'm like, this is crazy, you know. And then afterwards, I had a bunch of like people that I have a lot of respect for, you know, kind of like really compliment like just the driving, not just that we won, but the driving was to a high level. So I really hope that, you know, that I can keep my head on straight for the rounds coming, and really continue to put
Well, that was a really nice speech that he had, and then I had to end it, I guess. No, let's see if we can get these guys back in. Apologies. Hey,
Jesus.
You know what? Hey, I got like 4 different YouTube videos going at the same time. Okay, give me a break.
Cool, dude. That shouldn't matter. Who cares? I got like 9 tabs open right now. I'm chilling.
Listen, don't hurt. It's a lot for Michigan. It's a lot going on up there. All right.
True.
Yeah, they got cars and stuff that they're building. I don't know, dude. They shut all those down.
Oh, look at this guy. Yeah, look at him celebrating out here. Yeah, I mean, and it's cool because you get to hang out with all your friends on the podium there.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's funny if you go back to right before they announced my name, you see Darius, who's the guy who picked me up. He's literally like staged, ready to go, like ready to run, and it's the funniest thing ever. There's a couple of memes that some of my friends made on it, and there's some pictures of like the sequence of him. It's hilarious to see. But yeah, it was cool. I'm definitely glad I had team shirts made because we stood out a little bit before. I do have a new suit coming. That's why I put my suit down right away, because it's not a new suit.
So you kept that thing on underneath your suit? Was the collar uncomfy?
No, it's not a full polo. It's just like a motocross style like crew shirt. So
I definitely I know I complimented you on Tuesday when I saw you with those things or whatever it might have been. Yeah, they're a proper shirt right there, sir.
Yeah, it was cool.
You look very professional, like a real team.
Andy, thank you.
Andy Luck.
That's awesome.
Great.
That's funny.
He did. I literally got baptized on Wednesday. FD baptized.
Yeah,
there we
that's
go.
the best kind.
On the forehead.
Yeah, and then it was so cool. I enjoyed the event so much. And you know, here's the real question though. Which would you prefer, Formula Drift Pro in the wet, or Formula Drift Prospec in the dry?
Dry all day long. I like dry. I was so nervous about the wet because truthfully,
I'm just saying, like, would you rather watch?
What even dry everything every round? I'm like anti-water. I'm anti-rain.
Get this guy near water, dude.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So I want to put this one in the chat. Would you rather? It's the
So, like, would you rather have seen a wet Prospec or a wet Pro?
No, it's a dry Prospec or wet Pro.
Prospec oiled up. Or no, Pro oiled up.
Yeah.
Prospec not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much of a vote. I stand with Cory on this one. Just don't ever rain, Mother Nature. That would be awesome during like the events. You could rain every other day. It's
tough, dude, because watching Pro, because you know these cars are so fast, but it's so slow and agonizing sometimes watching Pro.
It was still honestly though, like watching the Pro dudes not give a shit about how wet it was out and throwing these cars at the same pace that they would have on the dry. And I'm like, yo, you're gonna keep going, and then all of a sudden it just hooked up. I'm like, whatever. You guys got some special sauce going on, and it's like especially like the RTR team, like, you know, everybody always talks about them, and they are the upper echelon of FD. And they just have so much knowledge on proper car setup, and just seeing them and Osbo throw these cars into that entry like it's just completely a sunny day outside, and I'm like, all right, guys,
No,
that's
it's
insane.
Crazy level driving. crazy level driving,
Yeah,
so good, and
I thought it was
setup.
good across both. It was genuinely great to watch for both of them.
I see. I understand your question better now. I'm gonna go with pro wet.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, nothing against you, Corey. Because if you
Oh, you're
could just
fine.
make duplicates of all of you through the whole field, like we'll take the final four. That was great. And
Yeah.
then the rest, there were some that shined.
Yeah.
And but like I don't know, yeah, I'd still want to see the big dogs actually running up on each other and all that, not having 10 miles in between each other because the inner clip just came out of nowhere, even though it's been near the same spot all weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a difficult track. Like Nate always says, Atlanta, he wish that Prospect doesn't really start there or let alone go there.
Hey, but I'm okay with the new changes.
I know the new
with the
changes are
new
sick.
changes to the track. I think it helps Prospect so much be a better show, and I thought it was a lot better of a show than in years past in terms of
definitely was.
battles.
Honestly, this Prospect round, every year they do get better and better, and I think that the driving level, I think the competitors in it are just getting better and better.
100%.
And but real quick, Yogi had asked if you didn't have your ride and had a full ride with a pro team, who would you pick?
That's crazy question, but I mean, realistically, I would probably have to say like on a team with someone like Dylan Hughes or something, with like where we have our like engine package and everything is almost 1-for-1. We both have Rad Industries engines built similarly. We both run same size turbo and stuff and BMWs. So I feel like that's probably the best team that I would like fall into.
I
That'd
like
be
that.
sick. That'd be a cool little duo there.
That would be a fun little duo.
Yeah.
Anton
good guy,
says
you're a good guy.
Anton says he's pregnant with Corey's baby. So that's
this
good.
is true.
Congratulations.
This is true. I'm gonna be short on payments though. So sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry,
He could still come to the rounds, so like that makes up for the child support.
Yeah.
I missed his face in the Sim Magic booth this year. So
yeah, we gotta just keep yelling at him. Maybe we gotta correct the correctional guy.
Correct the correctional. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in a one-on-one fight, I would get my ass kicked by him. So
I think this is a scenario of like 100 guys versus one girl. I mean, damn, that might be mean because he is a little.
Nah. Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
Dude, dig that hole, bro. Keep digging.
Keep it going, dude.
I don't mean it like that, yo.
It's fine.
No, I didn't.
We'll keep it right here.
Oh,
you're gonna have to put a censor trigger warning on this live stream.
Yeah, it's okay. It's already probably been demonetized, so it's all good.
It's already. I wish you did break your elbow last summer at summer camp.
But yeah. So I'm gonna end the poll right here, real quick, and we have 57% said dry Prospec, over 42% said wet pro. So I don't know if I'm surprised, but
that's
good news for Prospec. I feel like
that's awesome. We're turning the tides.
Or just shows how much people don't like wet. I mean, I'll be honest. The attendance in Road Atlanta was pretty tough on Saturday with all the rain.
Yeah, it was lowest I've ever seen.
Very sad.
It was also the coldest it's ever been, which I did not appreciate.
Yeah, that was tough.
It was sad because I look, we talk about it a lot. It's like, oh, which run is like your favorite? And it always goes to pretty much like everybody always has to say Atlanta. The fan base is incredible, and you guys are still incredible. I don't blame you all for leaving. It sucks that you had to spend now knowing how expensive an FD ticket is for like one day, and then it was just terrible weather, and don't blame me for leaving, but yeah, it sucked to not, look around and all the partying really wasn't there. Everybody's just bundled up, miserable.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean, it's the same thing in the pits too. It affects the pits, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had dry years where the Saturday is like phenomenal weather, and the pits are wildly busy, and it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And in the wet, it's like it's tough.
I left before 11:30. I was out of there.
In the morning?
No, 11:30
Oh.
p.m. Because usually people are there like having fun. We're talking. I usually like leave because I'm local here. I wouldn't leave till like 2:33 the past couple of years, but this year before midnight, I was out of there, dude. I wanted to take a hot shower, you know.
Yeah, I would have been right there with you, but my hard drive decided to choose the slowest path possible. Sorry, Nate.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a bummer though, because like you said, Atlanta is probably one of the coolest tracks to drive. But I thought Prospec attendance was actually pretty good though.
It was
on Friday.
Friday was crazy for just a couple of goofballs out there doing the thing.
So you guys had a pretty well packed stands. I felt like that was Friday, right? All of my days run together. I'm sorry. It's been a long week and a half. Because I rolled in Monday night and had to help tech all of you guys in, or at least video some of you guys in the tech line. So I was there for a long time. But let's, we've already an hour into the stream, so let's go ahead and move over to the pro side, where I feel like there was a little bit more in terms of controversial calls. I feel like a lot of the Prospec stuff made sense in terms of the calls, but the pro side, there's a couple people crying about some stuff, which, you know, could be justifiable, could be not. So
I only cried like one time this whole weekend. I want to give a pat on the back to myself. Sara was a testament. She was walking alongside of me. One semi-menti B while the whole event went on. So it was pretty good. It was pretty
there you
good.
go.
I was just walking, I'm like, you know, some days I really wish just making a little bit of money and not doing anything and just shooting for two dummies. And it's like, man, I would just be sitting down right now. I would be doing nothing. I wouldn't be getting wet. And it's like, and then it just like phases by. I'm like, all right, I'm better now. Everything's all right.
Oh, all right. So looking at seating bracket, it ended up being Dan Burkett and Dmitry Brutsky, the two people getting knocked out this round. It's such a weird bracket to me still, how they do it all, being random and so forth. But shout out to Andy Haitley, who saved himself from getting knocked out by beating Tommy Lemaire, and you know, good on him for doing that, because if he didn't win, he would have been the guy knocked out. All right, so where is... Nope, this is not seating bracket. This is the seating bracket one. All right, I wanted to watch this one and kind of hear your guys' thoughts, because obviously it's one thing if it shouldn't be a difference maker, but the fact that this is what knocks Dan out for the rest of the weekend kind of puts an emphasis on this call, where it looks like they just put a ton of emphasis on the lead runs for this battle.
Yeah, I mean, 1981 G Machine said, I think it was BS Federico was the lowest seed round one, lost the seeding battle round one, and comes into Atlanta 4 spots higher. Rad Dan got shafted.
Yeah, I agree.
I would also, like, it's one of those things
it's random,
that, like,
and that's how it is.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because each round someone's gonna get shafted. And as
I think more and more as like time goes on, from like a sporting perspective, FD just gets like further and further away, like relatability wise, for the fans. You know, like if I just randomly
I thought I understood
upon...
the bracket, and then turns out I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Even
because I
like
thought the people
us,
with 0 points would be in seating bracket, but they're not.
It's hard to see, like from a sporting perspective, what FD is doing. Like, I feel like the fans they're getting these days, and like people who stumble upon FD or whatever, they like it because it's like a show, and it's like, you know, cars going sideways and doing cool things. But like understanding how the competition works, and especially because that's why I feel like that's why all the competitors are there. It's like they're there to compete. They're not just there to, mess about.
Right.
They're serious business. And I don't know, this year it just feels kind of off with the just the whole seating bracket,
Yeah.
like how it's
How
this
it's set
that
up and
sort of thing,
stuff.
and just the whole premise around FD in general, along with like not understanding, judging calls or whatever it may be. It's just hard to understand for a casual fan. Like, for us, we understand it because we have people on the inside. For me, I spotted and I was in drivers meetings, so obviously I know what's going on. But for someone just tuning in, they're not gonna know.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have been watching, but we watched Mata's first lead. It looked like he hit all the marks that he needed to hit for that battle, and then you watch Mata chase. Mata's already way behind, so it looks like he just got smoked off the line. But trying to make his way back in. Dan did cut really close into that first inner clip, which is the first mistake. Basically misses that outer zone.
But did not ever hit the inner, and he wasn't like full bumper over the rumble strip.
Okay.
He was just kind of like last year and all the previous year.
Right, and then and going back out, he's again over the rumble strips again. And if that's what it take, if that's like, those are very minute mistakes. I feel like although missing this outer zone up here is pretty big, but
outer 3, you're saying?
Yeah, but in terms of like, because Mata's not there, let's be honest, Mata's 3 car lengths behind, 2 car lengths behind most of the run.
Yeah.
And
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm curious.
That was positive of you, Brandon.
I want to see if they do have a side-by-side that comes up. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Yes, they do. Okay, they have a side-by-side that comes up here in a sec. And I kind of want to see, again, his line on entry. Because if you consider this a way of cutting off the driver behind him, I mean, he does cut straight across the rumble strips on his lead.
Yeah, I watched this a few times, and obviously, like, Dan is a friend of mine, and I respect him a ton. He's been one of my favorite drivers forever.
Engines.
Builds my engines. But I feel like at minimum this probably should have went one more time, because I feel like there's the balance of Mata's lead was killer. I mean, the way he filled OZ3, the way he filled everything, he even stayed off.
He didn't cut the first inner clip as well.
He didn't cut it, and that the drivers meeting, they're so aggressive on the fact that a good lead means a good chase. And they say, like, all right, if we see you like short in the outer zones and clipping inside of the inner clips, it's going to look like to us that you're trying to run away, which again then creates like the gap and all kinds of stuff. So Dan's chase was very good, super precise, matched angle really, really well. Never really let Mata get away everywhere or anywhere, but Mata was giving him a really good lead. And then where on the flip side, Dan's lead would have been like, like probably an 85-point run if it was the old layout, but with the new layout, it was kind of tricky. Like the inner going over the rumble strips on both IC1 and IC3, being even almost coming out really shallow out of OZ1, which again is now, if we were talking about that gap that was created with Mata and Dan right away, Dan was low on OZ1, fully on the inside of inner clip 1, and as a chase driver, like, now your pocket was never there for you to go, so you're blinded by the smoke a little bit delayed transition up the hill. And then where Mata potentially could have caught the lead driver at the top, well, Dan was shallow in the zone again. So now it's like even less of an opportunity for that gap close. So I think it was literally like it was a total flip. I mean, I'm looking at everything in the quote unquote like devil's advocate. This is exactly what the judges like want to kind of portray, but I still think that like a one more time was probably relevant here, or in the total sense, like, Mata getting the win and he earned it. I still think Dan shouldn't have been seated where he was, to where he was knocked out. When there's only 2 drivers getting knocked out, you have people who consistently perform and perform and can run laps, which Dan falls into the bracket of like he is consistent, looks good very often, where some of the other people were not, and then showed that in their top 32 battle in pro. It's just so tough. But the one thing, and this is what Jelani, my spotter, beats into my head, is sometimes it doesn't matter what like looks good or what feels right. It's at the end of the day, we are in a judge sport. It's what the judges want. If the judges tell us that the leads are 80% of our runs and they're going to weight them heavily, then we have to take that into account, whether that's we think that's right or wrong. If I want to win, I have to do those things.
Right.
Yeah, and you can go, Herbie. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think ultimately, I think that I would like to see it one more time, just because how heavily this decision changes, somebody's weekend, and which, ultimately, that's not how it should be like every time, but like, they're like from the outside spectator's perspective, that isn't in a driver's meeting. Like Dan put down a pretty good run, albeit he was outer zone 3. He was a little shallow on interclip 1, but he didn't punt the cone. He was just kind of old style. Yeah, he could have done things differently, but he ran away on Austin. And I mean, he just had to just go pack it up for, doing the things right last year. And again, like I'm saying, like this is almost like then you're kind of giving out like a participation trophy, which I am heavily against. I live my life, no free handouts, but this is just this was a tough one. This truly was a tough one. I think too, because I like both of these guys too. I don't want to see Dan go home, especially right at the beginning. I know he's been absolutely like killing it in a way in the new setup and the Supra and everything. So
it's
I mean, I think
that thing is a rocket.
My response to all that is also like that's my emotional Jammin says like definitely not one more time, and truthfully I agree with you, but it's like the emotional side of like I want to see Dan do well and want to see him succeed. So me saying like, oh, one more time, it's because that's what I wanted. Like that's what I wanted to see.
Exactly.
I wanted to see them run it again, but like I said, playing devil's advocate, Mata did exactly what the judges wanted us to do.
Exactly. Yeah, he did. He nailed it. And I even messaged him today. I'm like, dude, you're killing it. Like, you're not looking like no slouch out there in the pro field, which is awesome. Him and all the new Prospec guys.
Yeah,
that have gone
all the
into
Prospec guys.
That actually brings me to one of my next poll questions, and that is which of these guys? Because I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the guys that moved from Prospec to pro this year. Yeah. Which one has impressed you most? Because you got Austin Mata winning the seeding bracket. You got Conrad Sully, who's knocking out guys like Jack Shanahan, like legitimately. Yeah. And then you got Tommy Lemaire in a borrowed BMW one more timing Adam LZ.
Yeah.
And I thought Tommy looked fine in the vet this weekend too. So
you see his video from Grid Life of him coming down the straightaway, like coming down through the last turn, like past the
keyhole. Yeah, he was doing like 145 or something. Yeah. It's like, don't dude. You drive tomorrow? Yeah.
Everyone left while I was typing a poll. This isn't fair. It got all quiet all of a sudden. I was like, no. All right, we're bringing them back. It's not my internet, I promise. I still blame Cory for this.
It's so funny.
Yeah, you guys continue to rant about something for a second. I'm running a poll.
Anton, you made me giggle. Good chats. I still don't think I've ever met Hayden in person.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I always picture the one on RTR with the long hair. Is that him?
You've never met him?
Is that him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, I have.
I call him Van Hayden because he looks like a Van Halen member.
Nice.
Van Hayden, good guy. Ooh, that RTR, that T-Pain RTR. I'm not a big fan of Verts, but that thing is gorgeous.
Okay.
I'm not
I also I also think I do like that one quite a bit. I don't know what it is. I think it's the big old tubies on the back right behind it.
Yeah.
It makes it, you got a
And
little like
the
Porsche Carrera style or whatever the hell,
yeah, a
whatever
little
it is.
Carrera GT style. I
Yeah.
like the livery because they have like a transparent film on the side, and there's a map of Tallahassee in the door. If you notice,
Really?
So sick.
I did
yeah,
not notice
That's
that.
really
cool.
sick.
I guess I didn't
That's
have my peepers peeped hard enough.
Yeah, I didn't notice it till the dude who designed it, aka Hayden, pointed it out. I'm like, ah, that's pretty sick, dude.
I,
that's really
I,
neat.
I did laugh when I saw it parked hard on Saturday during the rain, and he made like they were talking about like, oh, like it's a convertible, there's no like top to it, and he's like, yeah, man, I don't care if I get wet, like it's a race car, I'm a race car driver things, and it rains, and it's just like real quick, like, hey, man, fuck that, like we're not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Who-
Oh,
I
that's
wouldn't
cool.
want to drive a convertible in the wet either. I don't.
No, neither would I. Yeah, I would just straight up.
You know what it makes me think of is the Top Gear episode where they test it. Or no, was it Mythbusters? No, it was Mythbusters. They tested how fast you have to drive in the rain to not get wet. And I think it was like 90 miles an hour or something like that. They took like a Porsche and
Damn,
they
Road Atlanta might have
dro-
been a good test for it. Honestly,
Yeah.
he could have kept the speeds up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go. I think it's like, I want to say it was like 90 miles an hour that you have to continuously go, and the rain won't actually go in the car because it'll just hit the
Yeah,
windshield.
The poll is even Stevens right now.
Is
15
it?
votes in, 33 across the board.
That's
Dang.
crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, because like I'll be honest, like I had pre-contemplations. I was worried about TLO with his new car. I was worried about O'Sully because he's running like 700 horsepower or something like that. And then obviously Mata's car looks like it's seen a war because he hasn't had his new one yet. But it still works, I guess.
Still works. I mean, he had he had like some sort of mechanical issue. Did he this weekend, or am I just thinking about Long Beach? I don't remember.
Mata?
Yeah.
I mean, they were fixing little things, but I don't think he had any major mechanical issues. Like, he had a great battle against Gucci. Got one of the judges to say one more time on it. So, I think it's a really good progress for Mata, for example. O'Sully, kind of...
Just rips.
Dude, he was ripping in the dry, and then the rain came out, and it was like... It caught a couple guys out. It caught out... Like, let's bring up... was the Jack Shanane crash in 32?
Yep.
Was it 32? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's bring that one up because that was a weird one. Was that because?
Was awesome.
Yeah. Was that because it broke, or did he just get caught out?
No, I think it's kind of what Talaska was saying earlier about how he has the inline brake set up and he's able to kind of do that type of finagling, and then it was patchy conditions. Yeah. He went to do his cool little entry, and like it stepped out real good, and instead of like actually kicking back out, it did like a little shimmy, and then it was like, oh, here's some grip, right into the wall. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, Atlanta's notable for not having, especially unless it's like very wet or after like a bunch of rain, the track's pretty spotty. So I could totally understand the like it's just weird, especially straight down a hill. There's different parts of the track that are paved differently. After inner clip, there's like this fresh, super smooth section that's paved. Obviously, with all the elevation, it's different wet conditions everywhere. So,
and the fact that it happened,
it
happened kind of like back to back with Jack and then Connor, almost like back like. Jack made that mistake, and then Connor, like 2 battles later, I'm pretty sure.
See, to me, it just looked like something broke because it just
it definitely it does
so
catch
weird.
violently, yeah. But yeah, that's that grip, and then like at that moment, that's when like I really started looking at the hill, and you could see the asphalt patches, like you can almost like see where like the creases are, like where they decided.
That's
like,
so weird, dude.
Yeah. Like Atlanta drives very weirdly. Like it sucks in patchy conditions.
Yeah. Yep. It it didn't kick back out on him, and it just straight up gripped that front.
Yeah. And he was looking really good in practice. He was the fastest guy out there in patchy conditions when he got it right.
I mean, Jack Shanahan is literally one of the best drifters in the world. I mean, he's up there with. This is nothing to take away from him at all. This is just like a really weird miracle situation.
Well, it's just weird because he's like counteracting before he transitions or like fully transfers the weight of the car. So if you see, he throws the car back the other way, and then corrects really quickly. Is that just because he's anticipating the car to keep going, or
it's possible that when he was winding the car up to like kind of start the manji, the grip, because this is something that Brendan Greaves always taught me, my tuner, crazy driver from Australia. He always told me that you basically get a free test of grip when you leave the line. You're like guaranteed to, like, every time you leave the line on your run up, you can tell what the track's going to feel like on that first entry. So he's like, use that to your advantage. And so Jack probably did is he probably left the line, felt grip going through the gears, gauged the grip based off that, started to throw the manji, potentially stepped out really quick. So went to basically let the car, if it felt like it wasn't a ton of grip, he's going to let the car transition a little bit more by itself instead of forcing it. Because if it's wet and you force your initiation, you're just going to, car's just going to loop like crazy. Or it's going to rotate really fast. So my guess is that he didn't feel a ton of grip, went to go let the car rotate by itself, and then kind of catch it back on handbrake, and the car just straight up didn't rotate. It hit a spot on the track with less oil, something where, so the car just stopped rotation. I mean, because you can see it, like you can see him basically blast it in fourth and like start to kick it out, and he just didn't hold in throttle in that. I mean, but you can even just look at the hill, like where the cracks are. It's already dried.
Yep.
And
he hit like a dry patch.
Yep.
It's just crazy how quickly it snapped him over,
and there's a scenario there where like him pushing like foot brake and stuff would just rotate the car. Sweet. I mean, there's a bunch of uses for like the brake of all kinds. It just decided to wash out the front instead of pitch the car around.
Yep, it just caught that little dry spot. And like you said, he was probably just thinking that it was going to float into the transition of snapping the other way, and took it a little too light. I was nervous after he got out of the car. I thought I was about to see one angry Irishman. I thought shit was about to go flying.
Yeah, it's so uncharacteristic.
No, but he kept his composure like really well. But he's just such a big dude that I would get secondhand nervousness just from seeing him have a rightful like freak out. Yeah.
Have you ever watched his YouTube videos?
I've seen him only in Dean's.
That man, I've personally never communicated with him. I'll be honest, but I promise, I think he is probably seems like one of the nicest individuals in the paddock.
That's kind of what it seems like, even through James Dean's things. He's just he looks like a guy that would just stick up for you in a pub. That's for sure.
That's great. Yeah. But yeah, that was a wonky one, that's for sure. Another one I think people wanted to talk about was the Olsen Ben Hobson battle.
Yeah, did you guys? I'm not even gonna bring it up. Never mind.
Where are you gonna bring it up?
Got to take it down, so I'm not gonna bring it up.
Oh, is somebody ripping about something?
There was a very temporary fun post.
Was it the Formula Turp page?
No, actual.
That's a new one I found. That's pretty good.
I know. I don't really understand why everybody's dick riding Formula Derp, yo.
Derp or Turt?
Turt's the new one.
Yeah,
it's not new.
That's what I like.
But he keeps using the same audio over and over. I went and looked at it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's getting kind of annoying. First three were good. Now it's just like,
You gotta find some new stuff.
Fresh,
Well.
Yeah. So it was on Olsen's lead. So this is I think Ben had a pretty good lead, if I remember correctly. I guess we can literally go back and watch it real quick here. This is again.
You guys are watching. I'm just watching ads on Nate's YouTube.
Yeah.
Pay for premium, bud. Come on.
He don't even got ad blocker on that Mac dude.
Oh, but that's because I don't even think it lets us have ad blocker.
I don't
on
think
here.
that you can get ad blocker either.
But yeah, I mean, overall, really solid run from both of the guys in terms of a battle. So, you know, it was going to be really even going into this. So I am curious. I haven't actually watched the live stream. I've only watched the clips of it. But and I talked to Simon afterwards about it, and he said you're allowed to like pull, like, as long as you don't seriously decel the car up at the outer zone up there, you're allowed to pull e-brake. He asked in the driver's meeting, and he said you were allowed to do that as long as you don't drastically slow down the car.
Where in the track?
Top of keyhole.
Like
yeah,
in
absolutely.
Outer Zone 3.
Yeah, which is what he did. So you see, watch his rear wheel right there is where he pulls it real quick, and then Ben's
we're a little behind. We're only watching.
I'm watching the stream.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys can't watch it on your phone.
I mean, I can tell you that every single run I was pulling handbrake in OZ3 in the dry, even because we were picking up so much speed, clocking from 2 to 3 that it was the only way that we were going to make the inner clip.
Right, and so is that just something that is on Ben to kind of know that, hey, you are kind of still slowing down there, or?
I think his slowed him down, dude. Like, that was a pretty serious, like, pull. That was a good, like, 3/4 of a second.
This is such a tough spot because they never changed the momentum zone from their first basically graphic to throughout the entire event, but that pathway from 3 to the inner clip 2 naturally there is a decel there. Like, I mean, you guys watched practice, even like myself, for the first couple laps while I was figuring it out, I was completely missing the inner clip because I was doing what I thought stay full committed through throttle through OZ3, which I could never get to the inner clip if I stayed committed through the entire zone. They never like basically brought on a decel zone in that part of the track, but personally I think I was decelling, and that could have been my same scenario if Cody or Dimitri chased me closer there.
I feel like a lot of dudes this round really, like, especially in Prospec, you could hear it, mastered the art of throttle control a lot, and getting into that inner clip there was a lot of times like where you almost couldn't even hear the cars running anymore, but they just have like that little tiny toe just still on the throttle, just enough to kind of get the wheels still spinning and then grip you into the inside, which I did think was actually pretty neat. Shout out to everybody. Really not just blipping the throttle all around the track.
Yeah, I mean, this is just it's so tough because especially in pro, I mean, in Prospec we do have a wide gap of like variance where like, you know, no one is chasing like to the pro, like the pro level is just so much beyond where everyone wants to win. You know, Ben chasing within that close a tolerance to like Simon, and Simon is a ripper and Ben is a ripper. Like, where do you sacrifice? Like, it's tough like to even be on like any side of it, because how can you ask anyone to like give space in any scenario?
Right. Well, and it's the other thing too of like, as a chase driver, you know that you're kind of not necessarily supposed to be slowing down, but you know people slow in order to make that corner, or like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not increasing speed there. And to me, it looks like Ben was on full throttle there, and it's like, but that's not what the course is, you know? Yeah, that's also something you got to kind of think about. And you're right, Olsen definitely pulled e-brake there, but he got back on throttle pretty quickly, I felt.
This is one of those spots that I was kind of talking about before, and this doesn't even mean like right or wrong, but there was parts of the track that I did not surge on because it was too risky, because the lead driver was inconsistent, especially like in Prospec. I was like, I don't feel comfortable surging here because I don't know what people are going to do. And that was like on entry at the top of the hill. And I guess unknowingly, this might fall into that same category where it's just it was like risky because drivers were taking different paths from 3 to the inner clip. like, you know, especially in Prospec, I followed Sam McMommy, where he probably ran like the best clean lead, where he literally fully fulfilled 3, but carried enough speed and angle that he hit the inner clip, like kind of like almost changed direction out of 3, but it still felt natural. But then there was other people I chased, like my top 32 battle and stuff, and even like that, it felt like a really wide swing, where we like really wide swung out and then almost like stalled. Like our vehicle speed slowed down way more than like in another run, and then kind of like shot out of that angle into the inner clip and then into the touch and go. And because of those inconsistencies and like lead, that's where it was like nervous. But again, so many of the guys in pro are just so good that they're running lap after lap for lap, almost identical.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this was definitely a tough call, and Yogi pretty much says it, I think, the best. And you can't trust, like how you just said, you can't trust all lead drivers to do your perfect line in the chase. I think Simon almost parked it, but Ben should also leave space in the crucial areas where you think they might not give you enough space. You need to leave space. He said space like 5 times. Damn it, Yogi. But yes, exactly. You know, I was pumped for Simon to move on. I would have been pumped for Ben to move on, but that definitely was probably one of the more difficult calls that the judges had up in the stands, I think, for the day.
100%.
Especially after they went up against each other at Long Beach. It's like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna just chalk it up to the
top
other
32 battles were rematches. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But just how they did everything. Were there other calls that you guys wanted to quick talk about? Obviously, I think the LZ one was an interesting one, because I'm trying to remember, there was another battle at Oswell that there was a massive angle thrown, but they didn't penalize that driver. But we can quick pick up the Adam LZ battle, and this is like, you know, this is full wet, right? So
yeah. The Turk and Literal battle was cool, just because Literal really just was like tapping him all over the place. It seemed like.
It was definitely a good battle. I actually thought it was going to go Literal.
His lead,
I did
and that's
too.
why.
Who?
Didn't he zero his lead? That's why he was doing that.
I don't know if he did.
I don't know if he did. I remember it being like, I was like, wow, Literal's going to win this. And then there was it was one of those spots where like the aggression was too close, and Turk, like,
was that 32?
I think it was 32.
It has to be 32
in the zone.
Second to last or last battle, 32.
Yeah, and it was starting to get wet during this time too.
LZ and Castro, then that one was.
That's the next one I'm bringing
up.
Oh,
that's the one where LZ did the crazy backwards entry, right?
Yeah.
But it did not look good when he did it.
Yeah,
so we just
he did. That was definitely an accident.
But if this battle actually starts, come on now. Oh, it's not playing. So there's a giant gap right. Oh no, this is them probably testing out the track.
I don't know what you got going on, because I don't know how many seconds behind. Just watching you.
You guys can't see it on the camera view that you're supposed to see?
It's not up here today.
Really?
Yeah, you had the bracket you had was up on the screen, but now.
Oh, now it should be.
Yes.
Now you should see what I see. It must have when it kicked you guys all out, it might have taken you guys off this screen. But yeah, so we have Turk here, and it seems solid enough for an entry.
I mean, beautiful, like almost perfect.
Just floating right in. Yeah, no changes in the steering.
Up the hill aggression in the wet is like so good out of Literal here. I mean, Turk so far has pretty much laid down almost a perfect run.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one thing I really noticed, was like his car did not like shimmy at all, except for like that. Yeah.
And then so there was the big correction. Gotcha.
Yeah, because Literal
that's almost
gets
he almost zeroes in his chase and caused Turk to do a pretty major mistake as well.
Yeah. But otherwise, that's why, like, I mean, Literal, like, he rips, man. He's a
guy that on any given day I could see getting top 4 one of these days. Just puts it together. He's usually always almost there now that the car is working. Like, he's usually right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just sucks that he can't get through to that 16 spot. He's just stuck in that vicious cycle, kind of just like some of the other drivers, you know.
We'll see in the next 2 rounds. Two rounds, he's usually real strong at. So
yeah, he definitely was ripping at Orlando last year. It was lit. It was lit.
Yeah, it was lit.
All right, so let's check this Adam battle out.
That was, I gotta say, another good save. Good save by Osoli this weekend. Good save by Adam on this crazy.
Oh yeah, wow. It was a big old correction. But yeah, like, that's just not chaseable. And for anyone who says that is, then they're wrong. Because
I was shocked that I think that they even mentioned it. Commentating was like that might be in the realms of an unchaseable run. I'm like, might be.
Bro.
I'm like, yo, I would have punted his ass off the damn track. I wouldn't have known where we're going.
Right. I mean, obviously it's slick. Like, they're not going anywhere. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, like, the fact that Castro kind of made it work still was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he definitely was just...
Okay. Apparently my internet's just awful or something. Who knows? Oh, bringing them back. Don't worry. Maybe they'll pop back in. I hear you, Herbie. Hey.
Hello. Hey. All right, we still see the YouTube at least.
All right, sick. Yeah, I was just watching it here. I don't know how you could say that's not unchaseable.
Yeah, no, that to me, I don't think that. Really, there weren't too many controversial calls in my opinion. Again, I'm only looking through what the lens sees. So
I feel like the rain really makes it like obvious. Apart from maybe the finals, which we'll get to, and how they absolutely botched that. That was hilarious.
Look how quick I erased that from my mind because of how absolutely just baffled I was. It's like, all right, folks, we have yourselves a winner, and here's Herbie. Fucking tripod up. All right, boys, we're going to the podium. Fire up the live stream. Just kidding.
I think they did that purely. I think that was a Mav TV call. Tinfoil hat on, but the show was running short, so they had to delay it for Mav TV. So they did that.
I talked to
Adam's
the judges.
Chaser was so good.
I talked to the judges. There was a mistake in the tabulating. And they didn't. So they thought the event. So I talked to Reese and some of the judges on it, and they're like, yeah. So what happened was, they tabulated it, and they don't see what the other judges put. So that gets a result, and they have a winner. All right, cool. And then the judges are talking to each other after it's over, and they're like, who'd you vote for? And they say this, and then who'd you vote for? This, and then one judge said this, and then they're like, wait a minute, we don't have a winner. And then they're like, wait a minute,
all 3 different directions.
Yeah, all 3 went different directions, and they quick told them, they're like, we don't have a winner. Like, they're panicking in the box, like, hey, something messed up or something. And so it was legit just a mistake, either by one of the judges tabulating or whatnot.
I thought, honestly, Rain hit one of their tablets and hit the button, locked it in.
That's probably was, but it was an honest mistake. And then, yeah, they literally brought the cars back. But we can go ahead and watch some of the finals battles. We got another 15 minutes left in the show, so it probably makes sense to start going to the finals.
What do we think about the LZ Federico debacle? I forgot about that. I like how LZ on Formula Drift's page commented and said, "This was really awesome and great for the fans and done really safely, in my opinion." And I'm just like, brother, you're a good sport, but to me, definitely wasn't like the safest path. It was cool. I'm not saying don't ever do that again, but like for I think what it was it was Federico doing it, and so
Yeah.
far it's definitely been a little bit of a sketchy season.
I mean, sitting under my tent, bundled up, dude, I was losing my shit. That was sick, you know?
Yeah,
But in hindsight, the big thing, like if LZ had
I
like a
wouldn't be
different seat
surprised if he got a
and
talking
like,
to after that. Like, hey, do
yeah,
not
I
ever do
wouldn't be
that again.
surprised either. Because if like LZ had a different seat or he got on throttle or like he spun out or something, like something happened where it's like you just don't expect it.
yeah,
Could have been 2 wrecked cars and like
yeah,
really
a
easily
bad
too.
wreck too. Yeah.
And
yeah.
like you watch LZ's in car, like you really don't see him coming until he's there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then at that moment, like I don't like LZ had to quick shift the car backwards like an inch to get him in there. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
well,
pull the quick handbrake to scoot
yeah.
the car back a little bit.
And it's like, all right, buddy, come on in.
Yeah.
It was definitely something. This is
was
the lead run, so this
is
is
interesting.
let's see
I
if
don't
we
know.
can quick. All right, so here
Cool,
it
but
is.
definitely dangerous. And then watching LZ's video, like how Federico went up to him and said he did that because he didn't want to be LZ's bitch. Like
That's not
here's
a
my
reason.
theory
That's
how it was like aggression and
like,
not necessarily like, oh, we're having fun. It
Yeah,
was
you
because
watch
like
him right here.
pride thing, you know?
Dude, he seriously could have very easily punted Adam into the wall down there.
Yeah.
Federico, either get a new chassis or get better, dude. That's it.
Okay, let's relax. That was
He ain't
not
wrong. Let's be fair.
I didn't know he said all that, dude. Afterwards, like, where you
Yeah, I
get
watched
off?
LZ's video. I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's any insight into this. And
Oh, what a
that's what
stand-up
happened.
gentleman. That's something that a stand-up guy likes to say. Yeah, what a great dude. Yeah, I'm gonna really bite my tongue on that one. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna do another poll in the chat just so we can get some opinions on this. But
You
I'm
get
quick,
me all
I'm gonna
fired up, and I'm already sweating.
I am gonna quick end this prospect poll, and I don't know if you guys are surprised with the results here, but we got Mata in first at 41%, TLO in second at 32%, Nosoli in third at 25%. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
just a little.
And also because of Federico's fun little thing he did, his little antic, how he went across an IC3, how he went really inside, and LZ followed him. That chucked a lot of mud onto the track. And if you guys remember, that was about a 15-minute delay of show, which ended up putting those last 2 battles, whoever it was, I forgot, Ryan Literal, Ryan Turk, and then the other 2 into patchy / wet conditions because they had to get a blowtorch out and torch down the track.
The mud, yeah.
Yeah, the mud.
Hurst was one of those battles, and he didn't ask for a sight lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely ruined the rest of the what it was 2 battles, right? Like you said, Brandon? I think it was after the mud.
It
mud
ruined
debacle.
the last 2-3 battles because it delayed the show.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to put it was sick and dangerous.
Yes. I'll
Too
say
bad you gotta pick
man
one.
because it's the mix of both.
I stand on the middle one because of who it was. If it was and Phil brings up a good point. Had they planned that, it wouldn't have gone as good.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that speaks, I think, many words about how that really would have gone down. Hey, yo, there's a tractor though, looking good.
Hey, there you go. Scream grab it and make a video, buddy.
Cody Tractor.
Tractor.
Yeah.
You know it's a great. You know you're at Road Atlanta when the orange tractor with the brush and the blower comes out.
When the good old Kubota comes out here.
Yeah.
What a unit.
What?
Kubota.
You know, in our group chat today, they sent like Rick Ross has like some 4G autoed out like riding mower, like a 0 turn.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's funny because like right away I was like over under this thing being just a Toro, and then Alex is like probably a deer, and then like a few minutes later he comes up with the full like the model and everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we're one of those tractor guys too. We're also just nerds. Like, pretty good
That's
stuff.
great. You know what I wish is if I could be as good at anything in the world as these guys are at driving.
No kidding.
It is
literally anything.
like, yeah, literally anything. Like, it's insane what these guys do and the way that they just control these cars.
I literally cry myself to sleep every single night because I look in the mirror and I'm not James Dean.
You know, he was puckering right there, though. And he almost went off.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, like, honestly, I think he got lucky. I didn't watch the actual second one more time battle. I just
right.
I saw what I thought was the two final battles. And I thought that Freddie, especially on the one more time,
what was really interesting was watching it from above, though. You watched the difference in angle, and it was pretty substantial. So, this is the one that was one more timed. Obviously, pretty big. I would say that's a pretty big correction from Dean after hitting him, but and goes one tire off. But
so I'm always gonna root for Dean because you need that boy to win the championship.
And old Jimmy Dean
need that 5-time championship.
I want one more driver to get into the picture, and start fighting, because right now it's just James Dean and Osbo, and there's no one that's really looking like they're anywhere close.
Going band for band. Do you think that we're gonna see it again in Orlando, dude? A little.
Probably.
Osbo never really does great in Orlando, though, so it's probably Dean's.
I'm not so sure about that one.
I feel like it's Dean's track to lose there.
He does pretty good there every year.
I think he got knocked out early last year.
Yeah, so like look at Osbo's angle. It's just like half of what Dean is running, and then when Dean was in the chase, he was matching Osbo's angle. That was a sick transition, though. Jeez.
Like, this is where rain driving is like cool, watching it from like
because you can see everything.
Home.
You can see every movement they make.
It's going fast, but exponentially, just like you're doubling all your inputs, which like it's neat. You get to really see what it takes.
Like Dean chasing Osbo, you're in a boat compared to a normal sized car.
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, perfect weather to be in a boat for. So
I know, right?
Yeah,
definitely a little more difficult.
All right, so that was a one more time. I can see how the judges get to one more time there. Basically, lack of angle from Osbo and some pretty interesting corrections, and then obviously the big tap from Dean. So, let's go ahead and get to the next battle.
They are such cool cars too, though. Like, golly.
Oh, and that decision was
super split.
Split, yeah. And so it's interesting because you can kind of see what judges are prioritizing. You got Dean with the angle, so you got judge number 1. That was Vern.
What's that? Vern, yeah.
Yeah, that was Vern.
Vern, Eggert, and
Eggert likes the proximity, and then Reese,
good old Reese.
Reese doesn't want us to go home and wants us to suffer in the rain. That's literally all he wanted. So you can go screw yourself, Reese. He literally made it. He himself, I think, made this event last an extra 2 hours or an hour. It was like an hour to do 3 battles.
It definitely, at the end there, at one point it was 9:00, and I was like, "Yo, we're gonna get done so early, dude." I'm like, "We're gonna be able to do so many activities after this."
Nope.
And then I'm at the podium at 10:30. I'm like, "Man, now we're 30 minutes early."
Like that third OMT, like after like the podium tees, like when they all went to the keyhole, there was like no one in the stands. Everyone was gone.
Yeah, I had a bunch of people already at the podium with me.
I was at Longhorn Steakhouse. That's where I was.
Dirty dog. Hey, shout out to McDonald's for being the worst as well. Don't you ever close before 11 p.m. And if your goddamn sign is on an exit sign, you should be open up until at least 12 or 1. All right? Killing me.
You tell her.
That pissed me off every damn night. There was not one night I was able to go back and be like, "Oh, let's get some quick food." Just kidding. No, it
Bro.
was open. Olive Garden. Why?
Why is Olive Garden?
Like, I'm not about to sit down and have
God
endless
bless
breadsticks,
Olive
yo.
Garden.
That's amazing.
What the fuck?
I mean, the crazy thing is watching Dean have almost more angle at times than Osbo in the chase.
In the chase, yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Them RTRs, man.
I mean, this is a much cleaner run the second time around.
Is this the second one more time?
This is the second. Yeah, this is the second. This is the first one more time.
Okay.
So that was super clean from both the drivers. You're right though, Corey. You cannot see entry at all. Like, did they just not believe in lights or something? Like, dude, cannot see a thing down there.
No entry. It's a dark section.
It is very dark. Yeah.
Yeah, like all you see him coming down, and then there's just nothing down there.
Dark, and obviously the live stream is way brighter than what real life is. There's no lights.
You still can hardly see the cars. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was going in blind as soon as the sun went down. I was
Lord
rough.
baby Jesus, please help me.
Yeah, I close my eyes every time.
Yeah.
I mean, Osbo's doing a lot better job on the angle, and that's he's so good at that specific transition.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more wavering, but I feel like he might have. I don't know. If I had to pick, I might have gone Dean on that one.
Well, because Brandon, you're in it, right? You're in the drivers' meeting, and there's a tier system, and I think they've shown it on the live stream. There's a tier system of different ways to chase.
Okay.
You know, the number one is proximity with matching angle, and then number two is proximity with shallower angle. You know, and then there's like number three of matching angle, but a little bit less proximity, and it tiers down from there. So with how close these battles are, it probably just came down to them having to nitpick back and forth of that tier system.
Yeah.
It's
exactly. They just use the tier system. Honestly, I kind of suck. I already forgot it. I thought it was like matching angle but not being as close in proximity was better than like being it like this.
I think you might be correct. I think matching angle, proximity, and with slight gap was over being close with shallower angle.
Yeah, but they'd rather you mimic than
that's tough too, because like that's hard to leave it in the judge's hands. Like if I was the chase driver, I'm gonna go for the proximity with a little bit shallower angle than gap with matching angle every time. I mean, that goes back to like last year at Jersey, like my battle with O'Sully one more time. Like that's what lost me the battles, because I chose matching angle over proximity. So I don't blame anyone for just trying to be close.
I think that's kind of a crazy one because, you know, again, for spectators, like I'm sure if we walked around the pits and asked every person there, I'm sure 90% would say, give me that proximity. Like they're not going to notice like a little V action when the car right behind them is surging right at their door. Like that's, to me, way cooler than being, you know, another car length behind. And, you know, having matching angle, it still looks cool. But like if you were to put side by side, I think that you know, banging, like running into a door with like your nose like angled up at them.
I'm pro marks on doors.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so no, this was the final battle. Okay, so man, that's tough. I think I still would have picked Dean though for that.
What I always tell people when they ask me about controversial calls, like stuff that we've talked about basically all night, is if you feel really strongly that someone should have won, usually you're visually basing it off of the chase. And I just sort of remind people to like go back and watch the leads side by side without looking at the chase, and you might start to see like the reason why one person won over the other one.
Yeah,
it's just so heavily. I mean, and again, it's not a mystery where the judges tell us how heavy the leads are, so it's just got to be. It's always a factor.
Right. Yep. Interesting. So I just ended the Freddy poll, and 47% said it was dangerous. 43% said it was sick. 7% said it was meh. So
I said man because it's like in between.
Oh yeah,
That would have been. I would have gone dangerous if it was like.
If we had to pick one, that's what Nate said. If we had to pick one, I chose danger.
I told
yeah, I'm going
I said
danger.
I would think dangerous as well, but
danger.
The chat's been flying, so I have not been able to keep up at all. Have you guys seen any other questions or statements? I saw there was one question about Drift Masters, but I can't find it again.
Custard had asked real quick what we.
Boy 22 asked, "How do y'all feel about bets on a judge sport?"
I'm fine with it. It's it's whatever.
It's your money.
Yeah,
use it when you need it.
Yeah, I can promise you, no one's throwing battles in FD. That's for sure. So because none of the bets are, no one's definitely. There's no insider trading going on in FD.
Yeah,
so let people bet how they want.
You legit can lose to a buy run, if your car breaks, So this that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, it seems futile to him, but again, it's nobody's pocket watching you. Ultimately, it's if you want to bet on the sport, albeit, this is probably one of the most difficult things that you could ever bet on. It's just literally just throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping for the best. And I
don't think betting was added to FD to be for purpose of betting. I think what FD's mindset is, and it's super I like it that Ryan Sage pushes it so hard, is just growth of the sport. That's strictly all it comes down to, is it's whether it's good or bad or there's pros or cons. I think really what it comes down to is just all right, there's maybe a group of people who don't watch FD because they can't bet on it. The cool part about betting on FD is you don't have to bet. You can just not bet and be okay with it.
Right.
So,
and every other sporting organization you can. So it's it kind of makes sense. And it's just another way to try and grow the sport, Whether your opinion on betting in general, I don't, because I know
I don't
just
know
lose
how
money, but
if I actually knew how to bet on FD, I've tried 2 separate times on how to figure out that their betting apps that they have. I can't figure it out.
I don't think you're supposed to, buddy.
I don't give a damn. Whatever. Sue me. I'm sorry, Andy Luck. If you're in here, I'm trying to, but I can't figure it out. All right, you locked out the retard. Okay, but I think it's good because it brings this camaraderie and banter. People, we're always how often you say your buddies bet you can't or bet you won't, and obviously you're not actually betting them money. But we're always verbally betting, and this is just now you get to you go to an event with your buddies, you're a spectator, you just go, you're hanging out. One guy likes James Dean, the other guy likes Osbo, and now it's who'd you put your money on? And then another person that eavesdropped you in the crowd heard that, and it's now it just creates a snowball effect. And obviously this is an optimistic point of view on the greats of sports betting. But it does add that extra layer of why should I care about this? And then you start hearing people talking about oh, I just put $20 down on Ryan Littrell to win the whole event. His over is 1600.
Have you ever been to a no prep race?
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, which lane you got? You got left lane, right lane?
Yeah. It's all right, I got 10,000 down on a left lane, and it's all right. Well, homeboy just blew up his motor 20 minutes ago, and he just rebuilt it. So yeah, go ahead. 10,000 on a left lane sounds great. Whatever, brother. But again, that one isn't judged, so that is a little different for
it's true.
The people that were asking how do you feel about sports betting at a judged sport? But ultimately, it is the same thing. It's your money. You're gonna lose it if you go and bet on a UFC fight anyway. You're gonna lose it if you go and bet on a NASCAR race. It's just the way it is. Occasionally, hey, you might win, but overall, you're doing it for what? Because it's the adrenaline. And it's yo, if I do win, or if, it's ooh, I'm an idiot. I do it too. Whatever. I know that how it works. We don't win.
I'm laughing at Mr. Booty's comment. I don't know if you guys saw Andy Luck's story during the event,
No.
but he was posting. He basically took a video. Jack Shanahan and Jonathan Hurst were chatting in the pits, and they have the same facial hair, build, everything. And Andy was like, "Which one of these guys wins in a like a fight oiled up?"
Oh,
and I swear to God, I laughed for probably about 30 minutes after that, and then and then he added like a picture of Reese Marin. Was like, "Man, I want to join."
All right, we gotta do one more poll just for shits and gigs. We gotta find the answer here.
Bella wins every.
Who would
Hopefully
win
I'm
in the fight?
Yeah, who wins in a fight, Jack Shanahan or you know what?
Or Hurst?
Dude, they're
Or
both
Hurst, yeah.
they're big boys, dude.
Hurst always tries to want to race me.
Dude, he does that to me too, and I already tell him I don't want to take more money from you. I already.
It's like when do you ever you notice when you get older, you see older dudes trying to run, and then they always end up falling. Yeah. My biggest fear is hitting that age, and I go to sprint somewhere, and old Herbie just starts tripping up and just eating shit.
You got to do your stretches in the morning, man. You got to remember.
I don't know who to vote here. I want to vote for USA, but
this is a tricky one. I went USA, dude. You get a couple brewskis in that dude, he's ready to fight.
I have to go with Hurst.
That's true. He got fired up last year, right?
If there's anything on the line, dude, that dude he's got it.
That dude was fired up in Utah. I tell you what, that's Prospect banquet. Jeez, dude, that man was ready to go.
Piped up. Hurst will beat all of you in a foot race.
He will.
Is why I won't race him, because he wants to get free footage from us if I fucking lose.
10,000 points will. He is a better skateboarder than all of us. He's a better BMX rider.
Yeah.
The dude's an animal.
It's like Ricky Hoffman too. You wouldn't I don't know.
I don't think Hurst would beat me in a foot race. I find that very, very difficult to believe.
Dude, you have never seen that man race for enough money to get home.
Yeah.
And he has talked about this in when he talked about how much it cost him to run. He literally raced for tires, raced for gas money on it. He is, dude, I'm telling you, that dude is
speedy.
It's legit 50-50 right now, by the way.
It's my dad's another big dude. He's a 6'4", 200, almost 300-pound guy. And once he gets those wheels rolling, dude, I don't know how he gets it. Dude, acceleration is there, top speed is there. I'm like, dude, what the hell?
Peak performance.
Meanwhile, he's chugging Newports. I'm like, all right, brother. Okay. Different type of breed. Meanwhile, I'm huffing and puffing, just walking with the tripod up to the keyhole anymore. I'm like, okay, maybe we cut out the Yinglings, and maybe we make some changes. As I'm talking to myself, huffing and puffing.
Right. We still got 50 people, and this is towards the end of the show. It's good to see everyone here. If you guys want to like the stream, it's always a good time.
It's breaking. You need a parachute on the back to stop.
Yeah, definitely you need at least another 100 feet of runoff for a big man like that. You can't just have him stop.
You need the garbage bag he can hold over your head.
You have him tied behind your back. You pull a string. Y'all need any assistance? If you want to carry me. It's the vaping that's killing your lungs. I think it's probably the average of 14 Yinglings a day. So
it's a good average, honestly. I mean,
have you seen any of my hands tonight?
I haven't been able to see your hands. I don't know what you're doing.
That's true. I might have an enema thing going on back here.
That's okay.
A Yingling enema.
Oh dang! The poll just changed. Hurst was winning, but now Jack's winning.
That's a crazy spot. We were influencing the poll, and now people's true.
Yogi wants to know who will win in a fight: Herbie versus Nate or Yogi versus Brandon.
He's got to catch me first. That's the problem.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. At this point, all you'd have to do is
Brandon?
just out stamina my ass.
Yeah, but you got more aerodynamics going for you.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, with the hair? I thought
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're true. You're true. This is a fresh one too.
Oh man.
Oh, bye, Brandon.
Bye,
See, he got
Brandon.
nervous. He got nervous about having to fight Yogi. You got him all worked up, Yogi.
You can't even. Can't even bring Kristaps 100% would crush everyone.
Dude, bring Kristaps loose back. Jeez, oh Pete,
Got it. There you go.
bring
it's
Kristaps
late and I'm
Black.
tired. Okay.
Definitely one of my favorite drivers, Kristaps.
Kristaps Blues, yeah.
Jeff the wild card. Jeff Jones.
If you're trying to go fast, I mean, he's the guy that goes fast.
Yeah.
Kristaps on foot too.
He can blind his opponents.
Yeah, Ken, dude. All I gotta do is polish this baby up, dude. I'll stick this. I'll wear like an open face helmet, and I'll put my head down just right so that when the sun bounces off.
Oh my gosh.
You're all doomed. You're all doomed.
Shanahan's winning this one. It's crazy.
That's
Damn.
so funny.
We got, it comes down to it, folks. It's USA versus Highland. I like both places, but when push comes to shove, guys, we gotta vote for USA, no matter how stupid we might be.
Oh man, that's amazing. All right.
Going back to it, it's like Dylan. He's my favorite pro driver. If I could figure out how to bet on FD, I would put money on him every time. Would I think I'm gonna maybe get a return? I would hope so.
I would hope so, right?
But with the field that we're looking at, it's very difficult. So, same thing. You gotta vote for USA.
That's amazing.
USA.
Flying custard with the chicken or the egg, which came first? It's the real.
True.
It is the real question. Love you too, Blake. All right, so we're gonna quick end the pull off here. It ended up being, I think it was 58%, 57% said Jack Shanahan to 42% said Hurst, which is wild. I think you guys are crazy.
We're gonna have to get this one up here. We'll have to get some weighted gloves. We'll get the ring going. We'll do this at Jersey, man. Anything is possible at Jersey. We'll set it up.
You guys already get fights in the stands, so you just throw them in there with the rest of them.
This is true, dude. Now that would be the ultimate fight. It would have to be Hurst and Jack versus Danny, the English Town track security. 2v1. You're like, all right, motherfuckers, come on at me.
Oh man, good times. All right, well I think we got through the entire event eventually. But that was good, man. That was good. Thank
Congratulations,
you. And
sir.
You guys are all now not in the correct spots because you guys have come back and gone away so many times. So now I have to manually move all of you.
We look pretty normal.
No, you don't.
Though. Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah, you're all kind of.
Corey's bald now.
Oh, jeez, that's about to go.
What's up, man? A fellow Baldwin.
Nice.
I'm just trying to grab all the
spectators
boxes.
versus one Andy Luck. Andy's winning 100%. Andy would win 100 spectators versus one Andy.
Yeah.
He might need like a little like break time, a little water up or something in between.
That's
Need a little rock star to pep himself up.
All right, dude. We're not sponsored.
Keep it on brand.
We're not.
For them. Keep it on brand for him.
Maybe when
be nice. Trying to be nice here.
They want to drop a bag on us, Then,
right? #1 drifting live show in the world. There
what
we
up?
go.
Is it Neft vodka that's kind of making the?
I'll hammer that down, dude. Give me a barrel. Fuck it. Light me up with one of them.
Taking the barrel down.
They had one at the podium. And
really?
It had the lid on, and I wanted to kick it to see if it was really full or not. Because if that baby was full, I would have taken that screwdriver out of my pocket so fast, banged that fucking thing off, and started sucking away at some Neft vodka.
There we go.
Oh man, gotta love it. All right. I think we're gonna end off the stream here. We've gone a little over, but it's all good. We're having a good time. Yeah. Cory, where can people find you at, and what's going up next for you?
At Cory Talaska everywhere. Next thing we're doing is Jersey. I got to do some routine maintenance on the car. You know, I like to think that we find it's nice to be relaxed at the events because of how well we prepare. So that's what my father and I are going to do again.
Clean the champagne off.
Clean the I need to get my I need to clean my shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks for spraying all my gear with champagne, jackass.
Yeah.
To be fair, I couldn't see anything because we were standing on the podium, and as soon as Jared's like, "All right, you guys can pop champagne, whatever," Dimitri looks at me. He's like, "Are we getting wet?" And before he finished that sentence, Cody had already sprayed his bottle into both of my eyes. So
right I just in your face. That was aggressive, dude. I was
blindly shook the bottle and popped the top. So yeah, unfortunate. I was soaking wet. I gave my hat to some kid after the podcast, and my shoe was extremely soaked after the shoey as well.
We had the live stream was very taken back that you put your shoe back on after the shoey. They were like,
what am I supposed to do? I'm gonna walk around with no shoe.
And it was wet out too, so that didn't help either.
Friday wasn't too bad. Friday was pretty dry.
Oh wait, no, yeah, you're so right. You're so right. It wasn't.
That's funny.
I was like, honestly, I'm like definitely probably uncomfortable. Probably not what you're enjoying right now.
I can promise you that was the last thing that I was concerned about. Yeah. Maybe I might buy new shoes for the next round. Those shoes are like 4 years old. Maybe they could.
You need like a set to just bring to you on the finals. So that you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna switch these out for when I gotta do the shoe.
That takes the spirit. I will say, if I do buy new shoes for the next round, I'm not, and I do get on the podium, I don't want to do a shoey out of brand new shoes.
Get Crocs, dude, and then you pour the champagne in and it comes out the bottom. You never have to do a shoey.
I poured way too much champagne into that shoe.
You did. You put a lot.
I totally
and you drank it all.
Miscalculated how much champagne I put in this shoe.
Yeah, you put a lot.
That's Cory Talaska on my socials. That's it. We're going to next round of FD. Nothing in between now and then. It's coming up pretty quick. There is a scheduled FD test day that goes out there that NAP opens up the track for. So we will be making the trip out there for that to rip some laps. And honestly, I hope it rains so I can get some rain testing done. Yeah. But that's the plan.
Sick.
Oh yeah.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah.
How was it? Oh, I didn't even get to talk to you about your weekend. How was it spotting for some losers?
I mean, it was fun. Had a lot of fun. We did a lot of silly antics. We put a C16 VP Racing C16 in our golf cart. That thing was peppy, dude. It smelled weird and it was peppy, dude. It was great. But yeah, not the results we wanted, but it was a really fun weekend. I had a great time with both teams. It was a lot of fun for sure.
Hell yeah. So just a quick question on spotting for two people, like what's the complexities when you're doing that? You mean?
Well, so usually when you spot for two people or three people, because I learned Shanahan spotter in the US also spots for him, Jack, and Fiona in Drift Masters all at one time. And usually and then last year Gittin spotter also spotted for Hobson. So usually you have a 2-channel radio. So you have a headset where you have both channels in the headset. But for me, it would be either I had just 2 sets, like a headset and a walkie-talkie, and 2 sets. But kind of fortunately, I guess Matt Bystrack's helmet radio wasn't working. So
he forgot the damn fucking thing, dude.
He forgot the damn fucking thing.
He forgot the splitter.
He forgot the splitter. So
I'm so pumped. I got all new radios.
I was wondering why I saw Ricky on his phone all the time, and I realized now he was calling.
Yeah,
he was calling regular action to tell him, and then I would just text him like spotters notes. So it kind of worked out because first practice, I didn't know that was happening. Like, he thought it was working. Then he texted me like mid-session, like, "Hey, my radio doesn't work." So it was fine. But I had two, and I just blasted one of them up without the headset on because you can't put two headsets on. But it worked well having the text and then talking to Alex through the headset. I don't think there's much more complexity than that. I take the same notes, just get data on everyone. Um, and then just have my separate notes for the drivers that I'm working with, like what they can improve on. Um, make sure to see what setup changes they're doing, seeing if it works for the car, it doesn't work, and that sort of thing. Yeah, real complexity came with the headset situation, which was fortunately solved.
Regular action.
Hell yeah. And then Herbie, I get to see you this weekend.
Yeah, I get to pick you up from the airport.
I know. Sounds.
Should I go there with assless chaps?
The way you say that, that's great.
Should I show? And then when we
you gotta get a whiteboard.
Yeah.
I'll sign.
My sugar daddy, Nate. Come on over. I'll put some cool stickers on the compass. Heavy on the compass.
You're like 3 for 3 tonight with just one.
Oh my god.
What?
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Looks like I need to get an
totally
Uber to the event
chill
now.
comment.
Oh my god.
Listen, dude, everything's fine. Maybe I won't even shower for a couple days. I'll be natural oiled up.
Oh my god.
But yeah, are we going straight from the airport? You want me?
I would assume so.
I didn't know if you wanted to hang out. That's why I thought maybe you were coming Wednesday, hanging out for the night, meeting Finley.
Not after that comment. He's coming early at all.
You're gonna be padlocked in his garage, bro. Come on.
We did just clean it out, so
You're not
got a lot of
making it
room.
worse, dude.
Got a lot of room in
You're
there,
making it
actually.
worse. Oh my god.
Yogi. Great.
Yeah, so Yogi, I'm definitely not a brand risk at all. I'm really normal, and so.
I mean, to be fair, he is the Make-A-Wish kid hire, so.
But now I'm the older version. I'm like the big brother, and then now I got my little brother in the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and that is Rob. Thanks, Rob.
Oh man,
my
good
gosh.
times. But yeah, so we'll be at Hyperfest this weekend. So if any of you guys are going to Hyperfest, be sure to give us a shout and say hi. Yeah, I get to cover drifting, so just more of the same for me. But I get to film this time, and Herbie's editing, so have fun being bored in front of a computer like I was this weekend.
Dude, my feet are probably still gonna be hurting, so I'm gonna be sitting there very content. As long as there's like a window, I can just like, oh, look at them, look at them having fun.
I know, yeah. No, so I'm excited. I've always, because since we're part of Hyperfest Media, we can actually go to the cool places. Unlike,
yeah, I've never been a part of that.
Yeah, so
ever.
I'm excited.
My very first Hyperfest, I didn't understand the media. I got a media pass. I thought, at least anyway, and then you go to the meeting, they tell you where you can be, and I'm like, all right. And that is also when I had just blown my foot to smithereens by accidentally kicking my dog in her mouth, and her canine went through the top of my foot. We were playing with the ball, and I was on break. I was kicking her the tennis ball, and I said, "Okay, Lily, last time." And then I punted it, and she ran at me, and that was the worst day of my life. She's not with us anymore, not because of that, but I miss her.
All right, we gotta end this eventually. Dude. Come on,
but so, anyways, I walk across the track. I couldn't even wear shoes. Like, I had to wear a slipper on that foot because it was so swollen. So I had a slipper on my left foot and my shoe on my right foot. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fucking get a different angle. So I walk across the track. Within 25 seconds after it takes me forever to get over there, I'm now being called back and under flack and getting yelled at because I'm not supposed to be there. I'm like, I have a vest. I have a media pass. And they're like, well, first of all, you have a slipper on. Second of all, you're not supposed to be over there. I'm like, but it's on the map. And I'm like, whatever, dude. Herbie is the dude people worry about when the boys chat leaks. You know what, dude? Anything that leaks isn't anything that I wouldn't say in person. If that makes it good or bad, I don't know. So, find out next time.
Oh, you guys are crazy. Best part of the stream was definitely the last 10 minutes, that's for sure. No. But yeah, again, thank you everyone for checking out the stream. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you guys enjoyed it.